Legally Clueless has teamed up with She Walks, which is an initiative by Johnny Walker to spotlight and celebrate women making bold choices that are impacting communities. And in this episode, we get to meet a Kenyan woman who, from one bold choice, is now creating safe spaces for survivors of sexual violence and really doing her part to end this form of violence altogether.
My name is Jerry MCU. I am the executive director and co-founder of Usikimye, an organization that is both trauma-informed, survivor-centered, and very much community that works towards responding as well as protecting, supporting, and advocating for survivors of gender-based violence in Kenya. Usikimye means do not be silent. And one of the things about gender-based violence is how silent. It's a silent pandemic. It's something we don't talk about because, it affects us. It also shames us because we look at things like rape as shameful. We look at things like being beaten as shameful. So no one wants to talk about it. But we are out here telling people to not be silent. That time to be silent is over. It's time for us to talk about it because if we talk about it, if we name it, we can shame it. If we name it, we can treat it. If we name it, we are able to talk about it. And so we are against the taboo of silence that surrounds gender-based violence. Our journey to come into Soweto is a journey of Usikimye, really. Usikimye started as an online platform in 2019 after the death of Dr. Ivy Wangeshi. Her death led us to, that realization where you're like, somebody has been killed and people are making jokes and you're like, wait, what do you mean katana shoka? Like, how is this funny? Like, somebody's dead. And we thought, hey, what if we set up a platform where we educate the masses?
One of the things we want to start on our Usikimye page, on our social media profiles, is called Survivor Stories. The reason I feel that we need to start doing this is we need to start talking about sexual and gender-based violence openly that happens to people we know, that happens on people even online and even offline. Not just the good parts of our journey, but every part, because at every cycle of abuse, there's somebody there. It could be this is the beginning of the abuse, you want to get out, you don't know how to get out, you just want to hear people talking about it, and it might help people out there to normalize what we're saying, to just start breaking the cycles of domestic abuse.
And so we set up the page. It started as a Facebook page. It's one thing to tell people what to do online, and it is another thing for people to be like, oh, I am at the police station you told me to go to, and that is not the service I have gotten. Where do I go? I've been raped, I've been beaten, this is happening to me. And it removes you from the online platforming and online activism to actually getting in touch with the ground. And I remember the first time I went and I was like, I have time off from work because I was working corporate. I had time off from work and I took the survivor, and I was shocked to see that the things I was telling them to do online don't actually really work that way offline. We grew a little bit and we started getting cases, especially during COVID, from this area, a lot of defilement cases. And when it came to practically setting up an office, it made sense for us to be in the area of the community that the need was highest. And that is how we found ourselves in Soweto. I remember in 2020 when Usikimye started, and the violence in Kenya spiked by about 300%. Which is huge numbers. And here we are, the violence has started, and from what I had researched and from what I had learned, there were things called safe houses where survivors and victims of SGBV could be taken in. So I'm out here with these women that I have rescued, and I'm calling people, and nobody has ever heard of safe houses. People are like, oh, you mean a children's home? I'm like, no, not a children's home, but a place where women can go in relative safely as they try to recuperate, as they try, get psychosocial support. So that was our first programming. We opened up safe houses, which are safe havens for women who are escaping gender-based violence. From there on, well, we were here as an office because our safe houses are not here. Not about to say we are there, but the safe houses are there for the safety and the purposes of the women who stay there. We realized that a lot of the cases that we are hearing in terms of, hey, a child has been defiled, where was that coming from? And it was coming from the fact that a child had been lured with food. And so we're like, what if we set up a feeding program just one time a week? And that has grown. We do full-time feeding. We give kids between 300 to 500 food every day. When you're in the community, you tend to see things differently. So you tend to see what the actual problems are in the community. And so you tend to work with the community towards answering the why. So the other why was we realized there was sex for birds. And so we set up a sexual health and reproductive rights programming, which targets girls from the age of 10 to 18. And part of that is we build skills, we teach about menstrual health and hygiene, we teach about STIs, STDs, we teach about life skills. That is also another program that we do. And we also are very big and keen on mental health. We have a helpline which survivors can call in and get, assisted, get PFA, get assisted. Hey, I'm calling in, I'm here, I'm stranded, I'm in Kiserian right now, this is what is happening. We are able to send, a referral pathway.
Hi, so we just got our rescue car. It just came in from Mombasa, and we're just so grateful. Jerry is driving, so she's not able to look this way.
Hi. We're actually on our first rescue mission as is. Yeah, we're going to pick some children for a lady who, when she managed to escape the husband after he hit her so badly, so her children were left with the husband. So we've gone to the police. They've given us a notification to enable us to get our children so we can take them to hide in a shelter.
We also did a mental health program where we've been able to cascade mental health to the community by setting up mentors who are also GBV champions within the community. These people are able to talk and get in touch with the community, talk about stress, talk about things that actually have the community and how we can, get rid of stress. Our toll-free number is 0800 000 999. And this toll-free number for some time had been stopped, but we've been able to revive it starting today, which is very exciting. The toll-free number has served such a large number of people. One, because you're able again to receive professional help. It's manned by therapists, psychologists. So when you call in, you're in distress, the person is able to ground you, calm you so that you do not, have a melt off or, just get off. They're able now to tell you to refer you to hospitals. They're able to also, give you psychological first aid, which is very, very important because most of the calls, most of the time being called are distress calls. So you can imagine how important it is. I've gone through something, for example, I've been raped or my child has been defiled. I need somebody who's going to tell me, listen, this is what you need to do. Breathe with me. It's okay. I know you feel like your world is shattered, but hey, breathe. Let's take a moment. And then after this is what I need you to do. Call in an Uber or take in a matatu and take the child here. Don't clean the child. Don't clean yourself. I've been beaten. This has happened. It's very important to have a reassuring voice at the end of that number. We receive between 20 to 50 calls a day through the helpline, through my number, through social media, sometimes all the way to 100. I have to believe that people are looking for solutions. And if we are looking at practical example, we've served over 1.5 million plates of food. We have served over 1 million cups of uji. I think those numbers are already overwhelming as it is. We've given over 50,000 pads. And as I said, we receive over 20 on a good day. A good day should have 0. That has never happened. And we have people walking in, people coming in from all parts of the country. We've served people as far as Turkana. We've served people as far as Samburu. We have served people from all parts and all genders, all walks of life within this small community office. It's something that I'm vastly proud of. Habari zenu. Mkoaje leo? Asante. Nilikuwa nataka to check in within ourselves. Unajua, sisi kama mentors, people who work with the community, most of the time we don't do check-ins. Hatujiangaliangi. Tunajua kuangalia watu wengine, lakini sisi wenyewe, saa zingine we don't take the time kujiangalia, kuangalia kufocus on yourself. And I think it is important saa ingine sisi wenyewe tunajiangalia, tunajitunza, tunaangalia is everything okay? Are you doing okay? Sitaki kujua kuhusu timu yako. Nataka kujua how are you today? How are you feeling? How is everything? Is everything okay at home? Ni nini unaona tunaweza improve kwa chama yako ile una run? Ni nini unaweza improve wewe? One thing ile una feel unaweza improve, unaweza refocus. Things like that. That is when nilikuwa nataka tukue na hii meeting. Si ile tu meeting tu yetu ya chama. My team and I are very trauma informed as such. We do not just want to give you solutions. We want to give you solutions that actually work and are actually good for your mental health. But that in turn, we also get a lot of trauma dumping in our labs. Of course, we get to see the worst of humanity, and some of the cases we see are really terrible. But one of the things, again, being trauma informed means you also need to get time to debrief, time to get out and go actually see a professional psychologist who is able to debrief the team, the entire team, and is able to now at least, somebody else is also carrying the burden. We're very keen on things like self-care. And by self-care for us is even just breathing exercises. Self-care for us means regular check-ins with yourself emotionally, psychologically, just your whole, entire well-being. I'm also learning to do a lot of boundary setting because when I started this, I had zero boundaries. I'm learning that I cannot save everybody, and I think that is such a key element of, taking care of yourself. When we took up with the mentors, we were able to tell them, listen, for better service to the community, what if we train you so that you can have a deeper understanding of the community issues? And with that, these mentors have been fantastic in getting a lot of women and sometimes even men just to do wellness. There is room for improvement. Always, improvement is continuous. Si kitu ya mara moja. It's a continuous exercise. We keep on improving, we keep on doing better, we keep on becoming better versions of ourselves. That said, angalia utoto vitu. Ni tu vitu gani tunakuvutanga? Ni tu vitu gani unafilingi tunakuangusha? Ni tu vitu gani tunaweza work on to improve ourselves? Na hizo pia vitu take note. Ndio hata tukikuja next meeting, tunasema hapa na hapa na hapa na feel ningefanya hivi na hivi na hivi, tunaweza improve aje, si ndio? I was rather impressed the other week when they were talking about loving your children, and actually not just loving your children, but actually mouthing it. We are Kenyans and we are not very effusive when it comes to things like I love you, hug your children and things like that. So to actually see them talking about it and openly admitting that we need to do better, become better moms, be able to hug your children, and them even understanding themselves, being emotionally self-aware. I think it's been really, really great for all of us, and great in terms of they have now the capacity and the capability to actually see gender-based violence and report. And I think that for me has been amazing. And also being able to take care of themselves and largely take care of the community. Yeah, so sometime tu kujipatia tu hata kama ni 30 minutes kwa siku. Nasema hizi 30 minutes ni zangu peke yangu. Najichukulia na najitekia care. I think we've learned self-care is important. Checking in within ourselves is important. And I think for me, my very important takeaway was the breathing exercise. So this organization was built by sisterhood, coming together because of a commonality shared by your sisterhood, and making the bold choice to speak about things that nobody wants, they're not palatable. People like me talk about femicide. Femicide is something nobody wants to talk about because it means you are going to rub the society wrongly, because nobody wants to talk about women being killed by people they loved, or women being killed just because they're women. And so the bold choice is to do what nobody else has done, to walk in paths that nobody else has done, that can only be led by sisterhood. So the fact that I feel the pain that other women have gone through, I want to hold your hand. Hey, this is how gender-based violence shows up, and this is how I want to show up for you. I think all those things are very important in the grand scheme of things. And to take a bold stand and just say, look, I believe that we can end gender-based violence. And even just say, I'm here for women and children, which is not very popular, is by itself a statement of sisterhood. And it comes because women support the cause, by and largely, and also because they are also the same people that we are also serving. Because I work in gender-based violence, it's very important for me to talk about it, but it's also very important for us to talk about it as a community, as a family, as a country. What are we doing to make sure that the next generation is safe from gender-based violence? Gender-based violence is, for me, it's very surprising when people call and they say, I never thought I would call you. I read your stories, but I never thought this could affect me. Gender-based violence is not for the poor, it's not for the marginalized, it's not for the vulnerable, it's for all of us. We need to tackle it. Kenya can't be number 3 leading in the world with pregnancies. We need to make a bold choice as a country on how our next generation is not going to be affected by gender-based violence. When we set up Usikimye, to be honest, no, I did not see this kind of growth. I did not see this kind of actual impact on the ground that we would, literally, I can say this, Usikimye has changed lives practically in a way that I did not anticipate, I did not see it. I sometimes am very shocked. I'm like, oh my God, how did all of this happen? And I'm really glad that there is actual impact on the ground. But for me, I think the validating moment is seeing somebody free from pain, is seeing children fed. I think for me, that is the most important mission of my life, is knowing that children are sleeping fed, happy. Children are able to read. We have a library program that we do every Saturday at 3 to 6. That's my best moments where I am helping the next generation to read for fun. Not to read to cram, not to read for exams, not to read for homework, but just to read for fun. Children being free. It's not about the environment. And for me, it's just to even come and belong in a community like this. So for me, is to also look at the women that we work with, the kind of choices they're making, the fact that we have 400 women in chamas. I think that is the boldest thing I've ever done in my entire life, is to see these women making financial decisions that affect their lives and make their lives better. I don't think that for me is it. It makes me happy. It makes me happy knowing that they have choices, and those choices have been made available to them by Usikimye. By and large, my decision, my boldest choice was to quit work and do this. Very scary. I thought my divorce would have been my boldest choice, but this, and to be here 5 years later on, I think that is everything. Step in your light. Women, step in your light. For so many times, we hide our lights under our bushel. You feel like, I cannot do this. I may not be enough. Or maybe that person is the one who it is rightfully theirs. And sometimes impact is not largely what you think it is. Impact is not, I have affected 500 people. Impact sometimes could be, I've affected myself. Me, my choices have validated me. Because we live in a society where most people don't see you. To be seen, to be heard, even by yourself, is one of the greatest choices you can make as a woman. To know that the steps you're taking to make yourself better. I think some of those, and also to forgive yourself. I think I'm very keen on learnings like forgiving yourself, because most of the time, even as we walk in this life, we don't forgive ourselves. We keep beating ourselves for bad choices that we made at a certain time in our life, and we never leave those choices behind. They guide us, they are with us all the time, they speak to us, and they make us fearful. I need us to put fear down and just see what you can do if fear did not stop you. Be bold, be courageous, you can do this.